I just saw a moth, like a butterfly. Which might see that. This is good.
Hi, Sherry.
Oh,
Hi, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Come over here, honey.
Good to hear.
Story time. I've been home all week.
Working from home?
Yeah, I get out a little bit, but this week hasn't been one of those weeks.
Well, something to shoot for next week.
We'll see how it goes.
TV on, Jeremy said sit. All right.
Al Santos, how many speakers signed up?
I have 10.
Can you like forward us those lists, like whatever, like the day before? Because other legislative bodies at least forward people the list, because sometimes you see someone on there, you might know what the subject is, and we should be better prepared.
I could do that.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
As usual, I see 4 o'clock. I see 5 commissioners. We'll give 1 more minute for anybody else that wants to jump on.
Yes, Jerry, you make a motion. As soon as possible.
Romano, you're not muted.
Okay. All right, let's set it up.
You're still not muted. We don't want to hear your
I
conversation.
muted him. I muted him.
Good.
Patty, how are you in the county executive's office?
Go ahead, Mr. Chair. You can start it.
All right, Romano's
Good.
ready. Let's
Just
start.
finished.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chairman.
Okay, Romano's ready. You ready?
Yes, sir.
The girls, commissioners, ladies? All right, go ahead. Do a roll call. Open the meeting, Mr. Clerk.
Commissioner Aponte Lipsky,
Aye.
Sedano,
Here.
Sefeli,
Present.
Kopaz,
Absent.
O'Day,
Present.
Rodriguez,
Absent.
Popped on.
Romano,
Yes, present.
Walker,
Absent.
Chair Veneri.
Here.
You have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as follows: posting notice of resolution number 10-1-2021 on the Commissioners Bulletin Board, First Floor Administration Building Annex, Jersey City, New Jersey. Copies of the above mentioned resolution have been sent to the county clerk and the editors of the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger. In addition to that, in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, due to the state of emergency, the regular meeting of the Hudson County Board of County Commissioners scheduled for Thursday, March 25th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Will be conducted via the Zoom virtual meeting service at the scheduled date and time. The Commissioners' Chamber will be closed to the public. The meeting identifier, the number, the meeting link, as well as a telephone number are all advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act guidance. At this point, Mr. Chair, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings?
Just include Commissioner Walker and Commissioner Kopaz with roll call, please.
Thank you.
Kopaz
Here.
and Commissioner Walker.
Here.
Proceed with the meeting. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the following meetings? Caucus meeting February 23, 2021, and regular meeting of February 25th, 2021.
Motion.
Zach
Romano and
Walker.
is this Walker?
Yes.
I think it was Sedano, no?
Oh, so Daniel, that's fine.
It's okay, it's fine.
No, Sedano
No.
and Walker. I'll back off. Walker and Sedano.
On the minutes, Commissioner Aponte Lipsky,
You're muted.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sedano,
Yes.
Sefeli,
Yes.
Kopaz,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Chair Veneri.
Yes.
The next order of business is laudatory L1. And let me see if Judge Bariso can.
Mr. Rodriguez is on, Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
So noted. Commissioner Rodriguez is present. L1, I'll read it into the record, Mr. Chairman, to honor and commend Peter F. Bariso Jr. for his extraordinary service as judge of the Superior Court in Hudson County, and to congratulate him on his retirement. Whereas Peter F. Bariso Jr. is an inspiring public servant whose integrity, professionalism, and compassion greatly enhance the quality of life of Hudson County residents. He is retiring as assignment judge of the Superior Court after 16 years of service on the Hudson County bench. And whereas appointed to the New Jersey Superior Court in 2005 by Governor Richard Cody, Peter F. Bariso Jr. served as the presiding judge of the Hudson Vicinage's Civil Division from 2006 to 2012, and became the assignment judge in 2012, giving him judicial responsibility for all trial courts in Hudson County, including the Superior Court and all municipal courts. And whereas Judge Peter F. Bariso Jr. was a member of the Conference of Assignment Judges, as well as the Judicial Council. He was also a member of the Advisory Committee on Expedited Civil Actions, where he served as the Pretrial Subcommittee Chair. Judge Bariso is a former member of the Supreme Court Special Committee on Peremptory Challenges and Jury voir dire, where he served as Chair of the Civil Subcommittee. He is also a former member of the Superior Court Civil Practice Committee. Whereas Judge Peter Bariso served as the chair of the Conference of Civil Presiding Judges. He previously chaired both the Supreme Court Arbitration Advisory Committee and the Hudson County Advisory Committee on Minority Concerns. He is a member of the New Jersey State Bar Association, the Hudson County Bar Association, and the Essex County Bar Association. Whereas Judge Peter Bariso frequently lectures on civil litigation issues for the judiciary, the New Jersey State Bar Association, the Hudson County Bar Association, and the New Jersey Institute for Continuing Legal Education, among other organizations. He has been an instructor for ICL's Civil Law segment of the Skills and Methods course for newly admitted attorneys. He is a recipient of the ICL Distinguished Service Award for Excellence in Continuing Legal Education. And whereas Judge Peter Bariso graduated from Rutgers University in 1976, when he received a bachelor's degree magna cum laude and was elected to Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society. He received his Juris Doctor degree from Rutgers University School of Law in 1979. After law school, he clerked for Superior Court Judge J. Emmett Cassidy before entering private practice, specializing in civil defense litigation for corporate, insurance, and individual clients. In 1988, he established a successful defense firm, Peter F. Bariso Jr. Esquire PC, concentrating in civil litigation and workers' compensation, which firm merged in 1995 with what is now the Chase and Lamparello, Mallon and Capuzzo firm. Upon his retirement, Judge Bariso will be returning to the Chasen firm. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Hudson County Board of County Commissioners as follows. In conjunction with County Executive Thomas A. DeGeest, the board does hereby extend its highest commendations and appreciation to Judge Peter F. Bariso Jr. for his dedicated service as judge of the Superior Court in Hudson County, including his tenure as assignment judge of the Hudson County Vicinage, and his tireless dedication to the citizens of Hudson County. And two, the board does hereby congratulate Judge Peter F. Bariso Jr. on his retirement and wishes him much health, happiness, and enjoyment in the years to come. On L1, Commissioner Aponte Lipsky.
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes, and I just wanted to congratulate the judge on his retirement and an outstanding career.
Sefeli.
Yes, and I would also want to congratulate the judge on a very, very successful, illustrious career. It is fitting that Judge Bariso came from two of the most preeminent educational institutions in New Jersey. And I happen to know personally of their preeminence. And the judge, I recall the judge back when we were both a lot younger. My hair stayed lighter than the judge's, but maybe there was artificial intervention there. I'm not sure. But I do want to congratulate him. He's always shown not only me, but all members of the bar, the utmost professionalism and courtesy anytime you appeared before Judge Bariso. I want to thank him for his service. I wish him all the best of health and happiness in his retirement. And don't work too hard at Chasen's office. I vote aye.
Commissioner Kopad.
Hey, Judge, congratulations and service, all the best. Aye.
Commissioner O'Day.
I vote aye. I wish the judge would reconsider his retirement. I think he should stay on the bench until the ribbon is cut on the new courthouse, since he was clearly the driving force to get that process really started. And I wish he was there presiding over. Maybe let him come back maybe they'll allow him to unretire for a day in a couple of years when that building is finished. But it was good working with you on that, Judge. I know people tried before to get that done, but you got it done. But, you know, like Moses, I wish you were able to be at the promised land when that promised land is completed, hopefully in 2 years. But I vote aye.
For the record, Commissioner Rodriguez is present. Commissioner Rodriguez on L1. You're muted.
Congratulations, Judge Marisa, on your wonderful and excellent career, your journey prior on the bench, and I'm sure now with the new practice and your new desk. So I wish you the best. God bless you.
Commissioner Rodriguez votes aye. Commissioner Romano.
Aye, yes.
It's been a pleasure working with Judge Bariso, both as an elected official and as a police officer. He was a man of integrity. He is a man of integrity and character, who is fair, and he's a man of common sense and honesty, and a true gentleman and a true friend. And I proudly vote aye. Wish you the best. Thank you for your service. And I echo what Bill O'Day said. Maybe you can reconsider or you can be on recall.
Commissioner Walker.
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues, Commissioner O'Day and Romano, in terms of you cutting the ribbon, Judge, and I know I'm gonna see you again. I'm gonna see you at the Seton Hall games, and we're gonna have a good time. And so I want to congratulate you on a wonderful job and being a person and a character that you are, and just healthy. Enjoy life, man. I mean, life is precious and life is short. And please come back for that ribbon cut, and because you drove the engine on that, and we appreciate you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker votes aye. Chairperson Veneri.
I will only speak if the honorable judge puts his video on.
Where's the video? I want to see him.
I don't have it. I can't.
I don't think he has access to the video component.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not right.
I can't turn it on.
All right, rescind the order.
The panelists.
Well, let's see if I can do that.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think I can do that.
All right, no problem. Well, first of all, Your Honor, it's been a pleasure working with you since my tenure here on the board. You brought integrity and professionalism to the bench. I wish you well. Good luck. I know we'll see a lot more often now that you're able to come out and hang out with us and socialize like a normal human being, other than hiding it behind your robe. But you did bring integrity to the bench, and you're very well respected in the county. I want you to know that. And on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I do have the proclamation. There he is.
All right, you did it. I had it just.
Oh, there you go, magic.
I have the proclamation in my hands, and I will personally hand deliver it to his honor at a later time. And Your Honor, before you speak, I vote yes. Your Honor, before you speak, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. You swear that the statements you say right now are the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead, sir. All yours.
Thank you all very, very much. Very unexpected. I know when Chairman called me and I got the follow-up email from Al, I was very, very touched. And of course, I had to make myself available on the usual short notice that I sometimes get, but that's okay. Abe knows what I'm talking about with those short notice. But it really has been, I said this earlier at Judicial Council meeting. I had my last Judicial Council meeting today, and it is time, and when it's time. And I think it's time for me, but I will miss the working relationships and the people that I have the pleasure to work with and for. I had the opportunity several years ago, actually more than 16 years ago, to work for the County of Hudson. I handled matters on behalf of the County of Hudson, and then I feel, like I was able to spend 16 years serving the County of Hudson, even though I'm a state employee. And it has been a very rewarding experience. And I have to say this, I don't know if he'll remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, Freeholder O'Day, when I think I might have been the assignment judge for a year. And I was doing my usual peaceful and professionally complaining about this lovely building I'm in. And you said, look, if it's going to take $300 million to build a courthouse, then we should do that. And you were close. 9 years later, you weren't off by too much. And I have to say, while seems like a very long train ride, we got to the station, and I certainly will be around, not just for the ribbon cutting. I'll be coming around to watch the progress, because I've been involved. I had numerous meetings with the architects, and I just want to see if this is really going to look like the way they told us it's going to look. So I promised Abe I'm not disappearing. I will be around. If I can help in any way, if something comes up with the courthouse, I certainly will never leave that. It's a legacy that all of us are very proud of. And I have grandchildren now in Jersey City, so hopefully it'll be something they'll be able to talk about and be proud of when they're our age. I think it's an amazing accomplishment. I've had nothing but success working with the county. Whenever we had an issue, even most recently with parking, you have always been there to do whatever you can to assist us where feasible. And I think we've been excellent partners. I have tried to serve the county when there were issues involving the county. I've met constantly with some of the members here with the county exec's office, and I hope my successor maintains that same relationship. I think Judge Jablonski will. He's actually a born and raised Hudson County guy. I wasn't, but I think he'll have the same passion and hopefully the same working relationship. I've enjoyed it. I will miss it, but I'm not disappearing. And Al, it is going to be less time. I've already told Ralph it's 3 days a week. And no matter how many times Abe calls, I'm working Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and that's it. And just for a little bit of history, Al and I were in competing fraternities in college. So, and I will see you at the Ski and Hall games, Freeholder Walker, and Freeholder Romano. I know you have my cell number, and you'll probably continue to use it.
Oh, no, don't. You better.
Judge, one parting shot, Judge. I still have the negatives from some of those tea parties.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Bob Capodata.
Simon, Judge, a round of applause, please.
Thank you all. Really very touching. Thank you so much. Really.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, any way that we could carry your name into this legacy of the building that you spearheaded, and I'll be sitting with the committee and the commissioners and the administration to see that you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thank you all very much.
Chairman, it's Pat McCarthy. Can I say something to the judge?
Yes, of course. Go ahead, sir.
Just on behalf of the county executive, we wish you the best in your health, happiness, and your new endeavor out of Chasen. And more on a personal note, I met the judge a couple of years ago, and it was going strong with the courthouse project, and a great person to work with. And I would always say a very reasonable person, which is the way I think that he would even want to be thought about. Just a reasonable person, a reasonable mind, and got the job done. Congratulations, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Good job. Well done.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to my resolution, which I will proudly hang in my new office.
I put it in a frame myself, personally.
All right. Thank you.
Got
Stay safe, you and your families. Thank you.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Mr. Clerk,
Next order of business is additional discussion on today's agenda.
Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I do not have any additional items, but I do have a couple of updates from discussions that were held on Tuesday regarding resolution number 26. A new resolution has been presented, and it includes the concern that was expressed by a couple of the commissioners, O'Day and Cifelli, regarding the pricing. And GTL has agreed to reduce their pricing should they reduce their pricing at another correctional facility in New Jersey that offers one-to-one tablets and a full-time administrator. That is now in the new resolution that's been presented to the board.
Everybody got it?
To replace number 26 would be in order.
Sponsor.
Rodriguez. I'll second it.
Rodriguez Veneri.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Ponte-Lipski,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Cifelli,
Yes.
Topaz,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes on the amendment, but I think we should table the item.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes on the amendment, but there's going to be a motion to table.
Yes.
Walker,
Yes on amendment, motion to table.
And Chair Veneri.
Yes.
26 is amended.
Mr. Chairman, before I continue, does the commissioner want to make their motion now? Or should I continue?
Joe, you just want to move to table it now, get that out of the way?
It's up to you guys. I have no problem with it.
Let's move to table it now. I
Okay.
motion it.
I'll second.
Motion to table number 26 until the next meeting, is that?
Walker and O'Day?
Walker and O'Day.
Yes, sir. Go
Motion
ahead.
to table without date?
I think that's better.
To the next meeting?
The motion was made by Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Yeah, we can carry it to the next meeting, but we have to put together some, obviously, some prior meetings to the next meeting, so we can have a clear understanding on how this is going to operate, and provide the, the safety measures that we're looking for. So I say, we could definitely carry it and make a decision at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ponte-Lipsky,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Sefeli,
Yes.
Topaz,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Chair Veneri.
Yes.
Number 26 is carried.
Mr. Chairman, as part of the process, before this comes back on the agenda, can we ask that the administration provide us a plan that if this is enacted, how they will provide or monitor and to what degree will this vendor provide ready access for inmates, family members that may have to pay for some of these extras for the resolution of issues? I would urge all of you to go on the Better Business Bureau web complaint website and look this company up and look at some of the nightmare complaints that were made by people that allege they were ripped off of money, overcharged fees, charged for long periods of time when the system was down. And we really need to get this right. Whenever you have a monopoly of any service, you have to be extra careful and extra concerned because monopolies tend to take advantage of people. And in this industry, it looks like there's only one or two providers. So it's a monopoly. And it looks like by state, there's a single monopoly for each state. So I really think we need to be cautious. And I don't want to find out 4 or 5 months from now, service wasn't provided for days at a time. People were overcharged. People weren't able to access. People didn't get refunds. There's a litany of issues. If you just go on that, if you Google the company in general, you'll find some interesting articles. There's one prison telecom giant offers aid to prisoners for a price. Tablets incarcerated come with a price. Interesting issue that occurred in the state of Mississippi. But, there's an old saying, beware of Greeks, even bearing gifts. And the gift of the free tablet, we really need to make sure that that gift doesn't come with a much more expensive price at the end. That would have been cheaper if we just bought the tablets on our own. And some of the other complaints just related to how long it took to fix or replace a tablet that was broken. So I commend Director Edwards for initiating a process to address something which I think is important. But if we're going to do this, especially if we're looking at a 5-year contract, let's please do it right.
Okay, let's get back to the agenda. Can we get back to the agenda? This is for another discussion.
Yeah, I just felt want to put that on the record because if it's going to come back, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to want to know that information. So it's better to ask people to bring it now than to wait for it to come on.
I have no problem. You could do it after the vote.
Okay,
and
okay.
The commissioner can talk about anything they want after the vote. Let's
All
get
right.
to the agenda, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the only other item that I want to bring to the board's attention is ordinance number 1. We did include in ordinance number 1, in section 10, a requirement that the assessed hospitals must file an annual report by April 1st or 90 days after their fiscal year ends. And there is a provision in here that allows them to provide us with a reasonable basis for a delay if they're not able to provide it within the 90-day period. That's all that I have for that one item in terms of a change from Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk,
Motion to replace I-1 would be in order if the board wishes to do that.
motion to replace.
Second.
Maneri and Walker.
Yes.
On the motion, Commissioner Aponte-Lipsky,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Sefeli,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Chairman Veneri,
Yes.
I-1 is replaced.
That's all the items that I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. Ms. Clerk,
Public participation, Mr. Chair.
on agenda items only. Yes, sir.
According to the policy set by the Board of County Commissioners, members of the public are asked to limit their comments to 5 minutes when discussing agenda items and 3 minutes at the conclusion of the meeting for persons who submitted a written request to discuss matters of public interest. At this time, the public may address the board on any item on the agenda only. Please keep your comments limited to 5 minutes. Are there speakers on agenda items only? Please raise your hand. Karen Van Oppen.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm calling about agenda item number 27, where you urge the state of New Jersey to increase the vaccine rollout. So that's a thing. I'm not sure who is at fault. Is it New Jersey? Is it just the fact that federally there just aren't any vaccines or enough at the moment? But I also see that you say to identify the causes of lagging vaccination rates in Hudson County. I called last meeting about the fact that your own vaccination site can only be accessed by car. So I would say look at that first. That is one of the reasons that there is a lagging rate. I checked yesterday via the email address that was given if there is anything else that is going to be set up, and I was told no, and was given a list of other sites that list that you can find on the New Jersey website, and was told that most of them are walk-in, assuming that they meant not by car, because none of them are walking. Everywhere you have to call, go on a computer, figure out how to do this. And I know this for a fact because I'm part of a Facebook group called New Jersey COVID Vaccine Info. We have 135,000 members, and we are still looking for vaccine appointments in CVS, anywhere where you have to go and sign up via these apps, and even the one in Meadowland. These appointments go in minutes, some in seconds, and there is no way older people or people that don't have a computer or are not good at this stuff can handle this. So apart from the fact that there is no site in Hudson County to go without a car, there also should be a way to make it accessible to people, a call-in number. Jersey City, for example, has that, but I called them today and they are out of vaccines. They said to call back next week for the people that I have on my list. So that's one thing I want you to say. I also noticed that there are two very good videos online at your site. to kind of encourage people or to give them knowledge about what it's about. Unfortunately, one has only 220 views, two of them mine, and the other one 78 views, two of them mine. So maybe there needs to be an outreach done via Facebook, Twitter, anything else. I can help you with that if you want. I'll forward it. So that's pretty much what I have to say about agenda item number 27. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. Santos, you have our email for correspondence back, please. Thank you.
I do.
All right, thank you. Proceed.
Next speaker is Adam Better. Mr.
Thank you. My name is Adam Beater. I'm representing Hackensack Meridian Health Palisades Medical Center here this afternoon to speak in favor of agenda number I-1. Wanted to express our gratitude to the Board of County Commissioners and the County Executive for moving this forward. This program, we believe, will help improve Medicaid reimbursement to hospitals in the county serving the poor, disabled, and uninsured, and help close what has been a historically low gap in New Jersey between the costs of providing health care and the rates which Medicaid reimburses hospitals for providing that care. So we very much appreciate you taking up this issue and look forward to it moving forward and being implemented in the county.
Thank you.
Very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Mike Keevy.
Good afternoon. I also would like to comment on the County Option Hospital Pilot Program. I'm the Vice President of State and Federal Programs for RWJ Barnabas Health, and I'm representing Jersey City Medical Center. And on behalf of the Medical Center, I would like to express our support for the passage of this ordinance this afternoon and the opportunity it provides to the County of Hudson, our residents in the county, as well as the hospitals that provide the critical services to the Medicaid uninsured population. The passage of this ordinance is the next important step in developing and implementing this very unique funding opportunity to optimize federal resources within the New Jersey Medicaid program. These additional resources will help close the existing financial gap that exists between the cost of delivering medical services to the Medicaid and uninsured population and the current Medicaid hospital reimbursement rates. I would like to thank the Hudson County leadership that has been working on this project for over 2 years, and would especially like to thank the county administrator who has been inclusive throughout the process and has worked with the hospital industry to design what we believe to be a very successful program. We look forward to the continued partnership over the upcoming months as we push forward for a hopeful implementation this coming July. I thank you for the opportunity to provide this support on behalf of RWJ Barnabas Health and Jersey City Medical Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Clerk.
I have no additional speakers, Mr. Chair. May I have a motion to approve all items listed on the consent agenda with the exception of 26, which is carried?
Motion.
Second.
Romano Rodriguez. Commissioner Aponte Lipsky,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Cefali,
Yes.
Kopaz,
Yes.
O'Day,
Staying on 7, eye on the rest.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Chair Veneri.
Yes.
We have 2 ordinances for introduction. The first is entitled an ordinance of the County of Hudson authorizing and adopting an assessment on certain services furnished by hospitals located within the county's borders for the purpose of increasing funding to support the provision of necessary services by such hospitals to low-income citizens and provide new fiscal resources to the County of Hudson. On introduction, Commissioner Aponte Lipsky,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Cefali,
Yes on the introduction.
Kopaz,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes for introduction.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Romano,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Chairperson Veneri.
Yes.
The second ordinance for introduction is entitled Ordinance amending Chapter 200, Article 1 of the Administrative Code to update the list of Hudson County roads and bridges. Commissioner Pontilivski,
Aye.
Sedano,
Yes.
Sefeli,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
O'Day,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
yes,
Romano,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Chairperson Veneri.
Yes.
Ordinance is introduced. We have no ordinances for second reading. That concludes the items of business on today's agenda. Are there any comments from the commissioners on the business of the board?
Commissioner O'Day, go ahead, sir.
Yes, a few comments. Just on item 7, for the record, that entity, my agency contracts with that entity for TWIC card assistance. So that's my reason for abstaining on that. In case the Jersey Journal is going to post a explanation of everything that happened at the meeting, I want to make sure they understand that. On item number
Before you first
22,
anyway, don't worry about it.
on item number 22, which is the MOU, I think this is the beginning of a process. I think it's an exciting process, as I stated on Tuesday, and I reiterated with the mayor, who feels that it won't be an issue. Some language as it relates to the number of students from Jersey City that will be able to attend this, that's tied into the I don't know what you're going to call it. It's not a donation to the contribution the city is agreeing to be required to make every year is I think a critical component of this, as well as I think there's other ways of looking at it. I'm sympathetic to some of the issues that were raised by the teachers union as well as by members of the school board. The city's definitely got to pick up its pace on collecting unpaid payroll taxes. It appears that there's a lot of unpaid payroll taxes, and the city has yet to do an aggressive collection. Their answer was to do kind of an amnesty as opposed to collecting the interest that's owed. Either way, they need to get aggressive with that. The schools need the money, and maybe the city can consider taking some of the 140 million they got from the federal government under ARP, since the loss of payroll tax was tied into the pandemic, and assist the school board in the short term on that. But overall, I think this is an exciting project and a plus for the city of for Jersey City. On item I1, I raised a concern, and I also spoke to the administrator subsequent to have some language as to how these dollars are spent. I'll try to work with Freeholder Sefeli to see if we can craft language that everyone's can live with. Understand the executive has an issue with making it some requirement. I don't know whether we could call it the intent. At a minimum, if we're going to require, which I brought up the other day, if we're going to require the hospitals to tell us how they're spending the money, then we should require a report from the executive branch of government that lays out how the money was spent, so the public could realize whether this money is spent the way it should be, which is to enhance and supplement medical, health services and mental health services, or way it's just a windfall to throw into general revenue to fund other items, or just deal with the tax levy. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Any other commissioners?
Yes, to the chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Just two quick things, Chair. One, I like to conclude on what Commissioner O'Day was saying. I think the MOU in terms of the SciTech City, it was, I was on the call last night with the city council meeting, and there was a lot of concerns about Jersey City putting up so much resources towards it, and how we're going to reassure that we're going to have at least 50% of the population that's going to go to Jersey City. So I'm not sure of the legal aspect to that, but given the fact that Jersey City made a commitment of $2 million plus the land that they, gave to them for $10. This land is definitely worth, I would say $500 million. So with that being said, what can we do in terms of language and make it, I don't want to, discriminate against other towns in Hudson County, obviously, but if we putting out this sort of resources, we should have a pretty strong say in the population that's going to be in there. That's one. Two, just to get a little bit back to item 26, we discussed this in a public safety meeting in detail, and just to take you back a little bit, and Ron, and I got to give Ron credit, this initial plan with the iPads or the tablets, whatever, was pretty much with, dealing with education. And, obviously I'm a strong component of education. And I thought it was a good idea, to get our, guys, GED, because they couldn't do the classroom gatherings because of the pandemic. Now it's turning into a little bit something different where they're going to have the tablets inside their rooms, and I'm just concerned about that. So, but Ron, just to put it on record, his initial thoughts and our initial thoughts on this was dealing with education. He evolved into something else right now, and that's why we got to have a further conversation. So that's my two things. Thanks.
Commissioner Walker, I spoke to a spokesperson from the school's technology. I think everybody's going to be in agreement of 60% for Jersey City students. That'll come out in the next couple of meetings. I think we're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other commissioners? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk?
Are there any comments from the Deputy Chief of Staff, County Executive?
Sorry.
No, sir. Thank you.
This is a time for anyone who submitted a written request in accordance with the board's bylaws to address the board on any matter of public interest. Please remember to limit your comments to 3 minutes. The first speaker I have is Karen Van Oppen. Ms. Van Oppen?
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So first of all, I forgot to say earlier, I would like to thank Mr. O'Day, Mr. Safali for last time when I spoke up regarding the vaccination site for paying attention and giving interest in it. And I'm working on it, Mr. O'Day. It's an uphill battle. I get in touch with you. I also forgot to say that the undocumented people in our county should know that as per New Jersey, it is safe for them, free and safe for them to go get this vaccine. And we need to find a way to reach out to people that they are not afraid to end up in county jail or something like that. So that's going to be an important part. And for people who believe that, oh, we shouldn't pay for that, it's much more expensive to pay for somebody who ends up in hospital than for the vaccine, apart from the moral grounds. Regarding the school, Jersey City, as the commissioner said, already gave $500 million worth of land. I'm quite interested in knowing why they have to give money and why is that such an important component? Why can't it come from all that ICE money we're making? I'm not understanding the school setup for Jersey City. Even if it's 60%, it's going to be 240 kids. All this hoopla about 240 kids. There's 30,000 in our district. So that's one thing. And regarding the tablets, interested on hearing what this is all about. Glad you tabled it so that the public and yourselves can get more information on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Mr. Chairman, just to comment on it. I think the point the speaker raised about undocumented getting vaccinated ties into the resolution that I brought up on the board we all sponsored, and the need for there to be more sites that people can just go to, mass vaccination sites. It's nice that they have one out like in the Meadowlands, but there's a dire need to have one in Hudson County, and it's not like the county doesn't want to have one. I suggested the Jersey City Armory, the county executive's office suggested to the state, Liberty State Park. The state has just rejected those. So I don't want to mislead people to think that there's not an effort to try to find a location that people could access without a vehicle. But when you're talking about undocumented individuals and tell them they have to get on a website sign up on a website, get in their car and drive down to Kearney, a stone's throw away from the county correctional facility. I think that would have a chilling effect on a lot of undocumented individuals in getting vaccinated. So I think that points out the reasons why we need more vaccinations, and the issue of what we don't get enough is clear. If you go back to the early months and you look at how many vaccinations Camden County got per week versus Hudson County, and you look at the population of the two counties, we were not getting an appropriate number of vaccinations. So we do need more vaccinations, but we also need locations where individuals, not only individuals that are undocumented, but individuals that are not tech savvy, that they can be able to just go, show up on a day and get vaccinated.
Mr. Chairman, just to, in a related matter from the speaker, Ms. Van Oppen, and Fredo Day's comments, there was a second speaker at our last meeting, a gentleman, and I apologize, but his name escapes me now, and I did have a subsequent conversation with him a day or two after that meeting. And his point was that it was his understanding that there was a pocket of high infection rates among Latino men in North Hudson. And I don't know if he specifically mentioned West New York or Union City or North Bend, but I just generically think of it in North Hudson. And he was concerned that as far as the public health of the community is concerned, there should be some outreach to those individuals. And that may spill over into the question that Ms. Van Oppen raised, or the point she raised about the undocumented population, that they should not have any concerns that New Jersey is not going to turn anybody away. But the ancillary or corollary to that is that what I understood from speaking to this gentleman on, I don't know if it was on Friday or Saturday that I spoke to him, was that irrespective of whether they were documented or not, they probably don't meet the age criteria for the first tier, that they're not 65 or above. And I'm not sure about their comorbidities. But notwithstanding that, it seems like an issue that should be addressed, because the infectious nature of the disease is what it is. It's not going to change whether you're documented or not documented. It's not going to change whether you're Anglo or Latino. The virus doesn't care. So my idea was that I thought, and I spoke to Mr. Drumler about this during the week, I thought that why can't we have some kind of a specialized push to that community, if in fact the statistics show that there is a much higher incidence of infection rate among that population, the demographic there and the geographic. And Mr. Drumler explained to me, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think the explanation was that this is a state regulation. The county doesn't have a right to override the state regulation. Even if we had enough vaccines, we still have to honor the tier system that's in place. I would think that there could be or should be a procedure in place with the state, that there should be a waiver system, that there may be some outliers that don't meet the other criteria for those eligible for the vaccines right now. If it's a hotspot, and those folks, we should concentrate on them. So Mr. Drumler, my recollection was going to go back to the state, see if something can be done in that regard. But as far as right now is concerned, and again, this is the impression I got, that as a county, our hands are tied to address that problem, which seems to me to be silly. I mean, there should be a way to get a waiver of that if it can be empirically shown that there is a high incidence in one segment, geographic segment or demographic segment in the county that needs the vaccines urgently. I don't know why. There's got to be some mechanism that we can tap to take care of that. obviously, that's a different issue than just the overall issue of supply of vaccines. But so I just wanted to comment that I did bring that to Mr. Drumler's attention, and I believe he is inquiring as to that.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Oh, Mr. Chair, just
Go ahead.
a
Go
question
ahead.
for the administrator. The speaker referenced the videos and the limited number of views on them. I assume that was something we discussed at a couple of meetings ago, the need to get out there. The speaker's point is extremely, I think, valid, but also to get it out through all social media, through all, there's ways of sending out to multiple email addresses that the county should have, that the videos proactively, not reactively. But beyond that, are these videos bilingual or multilingual? Because obviously it's not that helpful in the Latino community with many individuals if it's not in Spanish. And along the same lines, while Freeholder says Felly's right about the age, there's a lot of lack of knowledge in many minority communities about what the more comorbidity issues are, like a smoker. You know, some ethnic groups have a much higher percentage of smokers than other ethnic groups. And that message also should be delivered as part of whatever these videos are, so individuals understand that they are already eligible to be able to get vaccinated. So I don't know, Mr. Administrator, if you could answer that question, but we know we spent money on it. If we spend money on it and nobody sees it, then we're kind of defeating the purpose.
Mr. Chairman, I'll defer to Dave Drumler. Al, can you unmute Dave so he can respond to Commissioner O'Day?
David?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Those, I believe the two videos that the speaker was speaking on are two of the new videos that were just shot called Trust the Science. One is a video that was done in collaboration with some of the North Hudson towns, and another one was done with Darius Toon, our Health and Human Services Director. And they're part of banner ads, and they're also going to be pushed out through a lot of social media chains. And that will be forthcoming probably within the next few days. But you know, the resolution that you put out is probably the most important part, getting more vaccines so that we can, you know, get the arms that want the vaccine. And we are working on a campaign that when we have more vaccine, you know, we're going to be ramping that up as well.
Are they bilingual? That was the question.
I believe the one that's focused on the Hispanic speaking folks in the community is bilingual.
And could you see how?
But to be frank with you, I haven't looked at the bilingual version of it. I've seen the English version of it.
So can you confirm that that's the case? And if not,
yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah, how quickly you could get it done. And I would suggest that there may be other languages if all you need is somebody to do a voiceover to make it work. Like there's a very substantial Muslim population in Jersey City, in my district, and probably the other districts. And I think that would be helpful in getting that out there. And I'm sure that they would literally find a way to play it at the Friday services at the mosque to get the word.
No, and we agree. And that's why we're trying now, while the vaccine supply is unfortunately low, to work on these things so that when the vaccine supply does ramp up, we can hit this Trust the Science campaign with, you know, all the populations that we have out there to try to get, you know, the shot in as many arms as we can.
Thank you.
All right, let's go. Mr. Clerk.
Speaker is Stephen Tully. Mr. Tully.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Steve Tully. I'm the Executive Director of ASPA New Jersey Council 63, and I'm here to speak today on behalf of the members of Local 2306 and 1697 who work for the Hudson County Welfare Board about the issue of hazardous duty pay. We're asking the county to pay the members of Local 2306 and 1697 hazardous duty pay now that you will have received aid from the American Rescue Act. The idea of paying hazardous duty pay is not a concept where there's disagreement. In fact, the county initially came to us last year and initiated negotiations to pay our members for hazardous duty pay from March 27th to June 26th of 2020. The reason I did that was that the county recognized that these employees who worked during the pandemic were deserving of hazardous duty pay. Now, even though the county initiated negotiations, they later came back to us saying that they would not be able to pay the hazardous duty pay because they just didn't have the money. Well, now because of the American Rescue Act, the money is there. Hudson County received $130 million as a result of the American Rescue Act. So the factor of money should not be an issue. And I'd like to point out that our members, AFSCME members, have not only been on the front lines for the people of the county during the pandemic, they were on the front lines making calls to congressional leaders, urging them to support the American Rescue Act because they recognize the need for aid to state and local governments like Hudson County. So our members made call to their congressional leaders in every county, every single county in New Jersey, and all across this country to get the much needed relief for local governments like this one's. So our members have done their part on the front lines for the people of Hudson County during the pandemic and by fighting for funding from the federal government. So the county recognized the merits of paying hazardous duty pay. The money to pay it is now there. And our members fought to get the funding for Hudson County. Right is right and fair is fair. And we urge the county to pay the hazardous duty pay to our members and all county workers. So we ask that you support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner, can we hold all the comments? They're all going to be the same?
all right. If all the other speakers are on the same item, then I will.
I think they all are. I think they all are.
Okay. Then I'll
Yeah,
wait till the end.
The next speaker I have, by time I received the request, is Frances Cintron. Ms. Cintron. She's using an older version of Zoom. Okay.
One or two off topic, Bill, but I think they're all basically the same topic.
So I'll wait till they're all done.
Yeah, wait till they're all done. We can address it.
No problem.
What do we got?
We saw her for a minute.
I don't know. She was here a second ago.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah,
My
go
name
ahead.
is- Hi. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Frances Cintron, President of Local 2306 Family Services and Housing Community Reintegration. On June 25th, 2020, we were asked by Sean Diaz to submit a hazardous pay agreement. We submitted 3 items: eligibility, duration of the time, and compensation. In July, we were told that it was off the table. Okay, like my director Steve Telly said, you received the 130 million, the counties. I just want to give you a little bit of what we did during the epidemic. Okay, we processed 22,000 SNAP cases, 800 general assistance, and thousands of Medicaid. Plus, we processed thousands of dollars to rental assistance to the public to prevent homelessness. Okay, the cost for both locals for hazardous pay is under $80,000. Okay, this was done by AFSCME members. We stand here today and ask for you to please reconsider your decision on paying us when we were out there during these hard times. I thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
The next speaker I have is Patricia Galloway. She is not identified by name, so I just emailed her asking her which of the numbers is hers. The next is hers. The next speaker I have is Officer Anthony Smith. Yeah, he must also be one of the numbers, so he needs to do the same. Go to Officer Richard Traver. Ms. Cleary's on, so Ms. Cleary?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Chairman Veneri and to the commissioners. I will not rehash. Let me start by saying I completely agree with the prior two speakers on the issue of hazardous duty pay. And I am the president of District 1199J, National Union of Hospital and Healthcare Employees, AFSCME, AFL, CIO. I'm also a resident of Bayonne. We appeared before you last year to bring to your attention that we had an agreement that we thought we had anyway for hazardous duty pay, which I thought would be more appropriately called hero pay. And that agreement was reneged on for lack of funds. And as my brother Steve Tully laid out, $130 million has been earmarked for Hudson County from this American Rescue Plan. And I would just like to remind folks of the type of work that our members have done and continue to do. They are working in the jail. They're working at the psych hospital. They are the building maintenance workers, the security guards. They are in the parks, in the roads department. They're in the chest clinic. They're Transcend drivers driving the elderly and the handicapped, and they have been exposed. And many of our members became ill with COVID, and some passed away, unfortunately. And I would simply say that our members have met their commitment to the county, to the residents of the county, to their jobs. They continue to show up. And I don't think it's much to ask to have the county honor its commitment to them and do the right thing here. Recognize the sacrifices that they made in the past and continue to make. This virus is still here, unfortunately, and it is a small token of appreciation. Many folks worked from home, and we appreciate, that everyone was paid, but there's got to be some extra recognition for those men and women who put themselves on the line for all of us every day. And I hope that it can be done without delay. Money in somebody's pocket is not just good for them, it's good for everybody. It helps the economy. So it's long overdue. So please, commissioners, do your best. Let's do the right thing for those folks who have laid it on the line for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Cleary, can I ask a question?
I did. Hold on.
Ms. Cleary? Is she still with us?
Yes.
Ms. Cleary?
Yes, Commissioner.
Can you give me an overview about how common a practice it is throughout the country? Has it been done in other jurisdictions, hazardous pay for first responders or other people that are assisting on a one-to-one in-person basis, such as welfare workers? Or I'm just trying to get a context. Is this common practice that's being undertaken right now throughout the country? And if so, where has it been done before?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. Yeah, absolutely. It is being done in many places. I will tell you, for us, we primarily represent healthcare workers. We do have a nursing home in Passaic County, Preakness. It is a public sector nursing home, and they did hazardous duty pay last year, and it was very substantial. They did it for about 8 months. I would also tell you that in just about every healthcare setting that we represent employees, there were increases in hourly rates, there were bonuses paid. It is prevalent. I hope that answers your question.
Well, it answers it. It answers it to a certain degree. But the other question is, what kind of a number is the union suggesting? Like, what formula for the rate of compensation?
Al, the statute, the act itself outlines the amount of money up to that can be paid to individuals. So the ARP, when adopted, has a specific section that lays out a maximum amount. I believe that maximum amount comes out to be like $13 an hour. So the maximum
$13 an hour over and above.
Over above. So you couldn't, what the county had proposed last year, which they should really live up to their commitment on, is a little less than half of that as it relates to the police and fire. Well, we don't have fire, but the corrections and sheriff, which would be $50 a day, which comes out to be $6 an hour, and $75 an hour for those. Now, I'm not saying that's the right formula, but that were the numbers that the county threw out, before. Whether they should all be treated the same, I kind of think they should.
Well, the hell is in the details, is my point.
I agree.
And I guess before I'm ready to make a decision on that or vote on that, I would like to see a projection from Abe or Cheryl as to what the price tag would be for that, because I'm not trying to be callous about it, but we also have an obligation to the taxpayers of the county. And although the fund that Ms. Cleary points to, this could be funded from the supplemental rescue plan funds that the county either has already received or is anticipating receiving from the federal legislation. I understand that, but what's the projection of the price tag? I don't expect Abe to tell me that today.
He knows it, Al. He knows it. He could tell you.
All right, Abe. There you go.
We'll get those answers when we're ready when something's before us. Right now, this is all preliminary.
I'll talk to Abe then. Yes. Off the record. I'll talk to Abe.
It's under $5 million, just so you know, and that's if they do the 2-tier payment at 50 and 75 a day.
Now let's go to the other speakers, please. Everybody's still waiting.
Yep.
Thank you.
Carlos Pastana. Is this Mr. Pastrana? Carlos Pastrana Jr., I'm sorry.
He's muted, Al.
Give me a second to get on.
He's either self-muted or you muted. There we go. No more.
How's that?
You're good.
I can hear you.
Oh, hello, commissioners. I have been listening to everything and I have a question. Is this the forum to discuss what Corona has done to me and my family?
Sure.
Counselor, you can speak about anything you want, right, Counselor? You have 3 minutes.
That's correct. This is 3 minutes of public comment on any item of public interest.
Okay, I prepared a statement. Okay, thank you. Good evening, all. My name is Carlos Pastrana Jr. I am a 14-year correctional police officer for Hudson County. I learned, adapted, and became excellent at my job. I possess yearly work evaluations to prove it. No disciplinaries in my file. I sought advancement every time. When an update is conducted, I will be number 18 on the active sergeant's promotional list to become a sergeant. Not great, but good. Before being infected by COVID, I was healthy, fit, sharp, with no medical problems or previous medical conditions. I contracted COVID-19 in the performance of my duties on March 21st, 2020. I had COVID for over a month, testing positive in that period. I am grateful that I chose not to return to work after 14 days, unbeknown that I was still positive with COVID. I may have saved a life by doing so. I went from my family. Oh.
I'm not freeholder, man. I'll call commission.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I went from a family doctor to a neurologist. Brain mapping test indicated hypertension and deficiencies and more. Then an MRI indicates small vessel ischemic disease, which causes my many brain abnormalities. I have daily chronic migraines, photosensitivity, cognitive deficiencies, and PTSD, and more. I am also being treated by a neuropsychologist.
Hi, Mr. Chair.
One more minute, sir. Go ahead.
I currently possess 15 articles from reputable medical facilities and doctors throughout the world, all stating findings of the same brain disease that I have from post-COVID patients, deceased and alive. Also, more areas of the brain damage causing significant neurological abnormalities. I understand you're sticking to the 3 minutes. I have much more, but I will find a way to share my information.
If you would like to email the clerk will get it to the commissioners. We have no problem with that, sir. With your contact information.
Understood.
No, I have your email. You have mine. You can email it to me.
Okay, is this clerk, Mr. Santos?
Yes.
Correct.
Understood. I will do so.
Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Officer Anthony Smith.
Go ahead, sir.
Good, Anthony.
Go ahead.
You hear us?
You can see him and he's not muted. See his name.
Mr. Smith, are you there?
We could come back to him.
All right, come back to him.
Lloyd Hetzel. Let's see. Where did he go? Just was there a minute ago. Please unmute Mr. Hetzel.
Okay, he's there. Go ahead, sir. Can you hear us, Lloyd?
Yeah, just so you know that Anthony Smith said he was trying to speak and we obviously couldn't hear him.
Yeah, all right, we'll come back. No problem. We're having the same problem here, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Hotzfeld? Lloyd Hotzfeld we're waiting for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Okay,
unmuted.
he's got his hand up. All right.
Same thing as Mr. Smith, you're unmuted.
We check if there's an issue why we can't hear them.
Richie, is there a problem?
The only way for me to find out would be to ask someone else to try to get in. For instance, if we ask Dave Drumler to, I'm going to ask Dave if he can speak and see if we can hear him.
I don't want to hear him.
Dave, you're self-muted.
Can you hear me?
You know, you're working hard and, all power to you. We know this has been a troubling time for you, Dave, and we respect your work for the county. Seriously, you're working day and night.
Appreciate that.
Hear you. Okay.
There you go.
Lloyd,
Yes, hi, this is Lloyd Holtzel. Yes,
There you
go
go.
ahead. So you got 3 minutes, sir.
thank you. Hello, my name is Lloyd Holtzel. I'm a full-time nurse at Meadowview Psychiatric Hospital. I'm speaking today on behalf of my coworkers and myself because many of us in the nursing department feel our working conditions are unfair. Since winter 2020, when the pandemic began, we worked much more hours than other departments of essential workers in the same union at our facility. Since then, in order to receive full-time pay, nurses are required to complete 80 hours in a 2-week period, while other departments of essential workers in the same union at the same facility have been allowed to work 56 hours in a 2-week period for full-time pay for at least 6 months. It was also noted that these essential workers in another department were paid overtime if they worked more than 56 hours in a pay period, such as an 8-hour shift on their 7 days off. So many of us in nursing feel the difference in schedules between our department and other departments of essential workers at Meadowview are very unfair. And we feel entitled to be compensated for these differences. This issue has been very demoralizing for nursing staff working at Meadowview who continue to get COVID-19 and spend less time with our children and families to work required overtime to keep the facility adequately staffed, all while being attacked sometimes by patients. We feel unappreciated and undervalued, especially because we have been denied hazard pay so far. We are aware that the county has received funding twice from the federal government for essential worker pay, among other things. Additionally, another department of essential workers at our facility in the same union contracted for outside workers while the nursing department did not. We are simply asking for fairness in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we'll try Officer Anthony Smith again.
Sure. How many speakers left, Mr. Clerk?
I have 4 left. And the name was here a minute ago. I don't see him now. So Mr. Officer Smith, if you hear us, please redial in.
I go to the next one, please.
There's Officer Richard Traver. He's not identified by name. If you're one of the numbers, please identify yourself. Please change the number to a name identifier.
Okay, go to the next one.
Same thing with Patricia Galloway. Ms. Galloway, if you're on there, doesn't match the last name. I have a Patty listed. If that's you, please raise your hand.
Go to the next one. Rich, keep an eye on him, please.
And then I have Mark Bloomberg, and I believe he's here. Mr. Bloomberg?
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of what I wanted to talk about actually has been covered already in the COVID discussions, but I did want to thank Commissioner Cifelli specifically, as well as Dave Drumler, for their availability after the last meeting to talk to me about the Hudson County vaccination program. So it was very helpful, and I appreciate the additional time that they spent with me. Just something I'll bring up in case you weren't aware. Like I saw that you have Amendment 27 on the agenda, which I think is great as far as holding state to task. I believe that Assemblywoman Jimenez sponsored a bill that passed at the state level to put together a task force to study racial and health disparities in the state's overall COVID response. Not sure if the governor signed it yet at this point or not. And yeah, I don't know what the population breakdown is of Hudson County, but looking at the state dashboard, the vaccination rates within our county, 34% of vaccinations gone to whites, 23% to Hispanics and Latinos, 12% to Asian, 5% to Blacks. So how that is town by town, but it's an interesting place to look, kind of see how we're doing overall. I did want to mention to one of the earlier speakers, Ms. Van Oppen, if I'm getting her name correctly or not, and really for anyone that's looking to get vaccinated, one location that isn't well publicized, that does not have a website, is the North Hudson Community Action Center. Their phone number, this is not their main number, it's another number, 201-366-8465.
It's not a county entity, Mark.
Okay, I realize that, but just having a public forum, I'm sharing it since this woman mentioned that she is, you know, just working, helping people get appointments. So I'm just trying to share information because they don't have a website, and I and a number of other people have been very successful calling in and getting vaccinations for folks, because the end of the day, we're going for herd immunity. Granted, it's not a county site, but we don't necessarily want people to wait, you know, for the county site to become available, you know, wherever they
Site,
can.
but it's not, we don't oversee it. It's not our jurisdiction, like the one in Kearney.
Yep. Yep, that's fair. That's fair. So that's more public service announcement from me. Glad to hear that you're doing the promotion and outreaching to the clergy. That's fantastic. I'd say another component of it, you know, I can understand being gun shy because your demand outstrips your supply, but a lot of it is just, you know, educating as well. Even if people, you know, can't get the vaccination yet, but just the education campaign is a really important part of the promotion. So, and then last thing, and it's really the only question here, because you've discussed a lot on here earlier, but at the last meeting, some ideas were thrown around about potentially exploring other options, such as providing transportation to the Kearney site for people, or possibly even some pop-up sites and other locations.
Mr. Chair.
You're finish up, Mark. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, thank you. So I was just gonna ask, do you have, you know, do you have any progress on that front to report? Thank you.
I don't think yet, Mr. Administrator, do we? No.
I think Dave, Mr. Chairman, I think in my conversation with Dave Drumler, he had some comments about those alternatives. I don't know if he's still available.
I am still here. But I'm actually ironically going to have to leave in about 5 minutes to speak at a Latin event on behalf of the county executive's office to push out our message to one of these communities that we're trying to hit. We are working with all of our municipal health partners, and they are having pop-up sites. One of the best examples of that was the pop-up site in Union City when the governor was here. And that was a site where you could just walk. It was in a public housing area in Union City, where you could just walk in and get vaccinated if you qualified to receive a vaccine. We are working actually very hard, and we've been doing this probably since we last met, in trying to enable some of our sites, not only our site, but working with Hoboken and working with Jersey City to try to get the ability to administer Pfizer vaccines, so that we can perhaps, if we're able to utilize all 3 vaccines, be able to push more vaccines out to the public. The Pfizer vaccine is much more difficult to both store, and it requires reconstitution. But we are working on that to hopefully help supply throughout the county. And as I said earlier, all of those things should help our municipal partners to have more vaccine, to have pop-up sites and have a little more easily accessible sites for the general public. We are also pushing all the Johnson & Johnson shots that are allocated to the county out to our municipal partners, because they're better at getting it to localized areas where it's needed. And then where we have homebound folks and things like that. Hoboken issued a press release on that this morning. So those are trying to effectuate the Johnson & Johnson shot, getting out to, you know, targeted groups that are hard to get twice, is what we're trying to focus on with pop-ups and with our municipal partners.
Thank you very much. Next speaker.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman, I had a quick question for Dave. Dave, I had spoke to you and asked if you could figure out how we could ascertain the non-county entities, which are hospitals, I guess North Hudson Cap, qualified federal health centers. I found out the one that I deal with most, how many they get a week, what they are receiving, so we get a better idea. Because to address what the prior speaker said, some of those entities are a lot easier to get a vaccine from than the process that we have with the drive-through, because they have locations that people could get to. And I had connected Karen to one of them, and I know she's working with them, trying to find a specific location to address people from a certain part of Jersey City. But have you made any progress in getting us that information?
A freeholder, we have not at this juncture. We have been really focused on this Pfizer.
Yes, sir. All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Could we find any other speakers?
Under Sheriff Andrew Conti.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Under Sheriff, go ahead, sir.
Chairman, can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Is it okay if I speak a little bit about Judge Bariso?
Sure, why not? You're a public, you're a public person. Go ahead, you got 3
Only
minutes.
an hour and a half late, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, you got 3 minutes though.
I'm with the Sheriff's Office. We don't get 3 minutes. We would like to do more.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Since he's, the assignment judge, there's a daily working relationship with him with the Sheriff's Office. And it's been an amazing time as a partner with him since the time he's been there with our management and our superiors at the courthouse. And I just wanted to say that he instituted several security procedures that were for the betterment of the employees, visitors to the courthouse. And he's always been professional and a gentleman to us. He's always taken the time to swear in our new members over the years that he's been the assignment judge, and whenever promotions were made. So he's respected by us. He's that kind of guy that you don't mind being partners with. And just wanted to say that on behalf of Sheriff Shalari and all the members of the Sheriff's Office, to Judge Bariso, congratulations on your well-deserved retirement. You'll be truly missed. And we look forward to and hope the relationship with his replacement, Judge Jablonski, we will have the same amazing partnership. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Under Sheriff. Appreciate your words. I'm sure he'll hear these.
So we're back to the three previous requests. Officer Anthony Smith, Officer Richard Traver, and Officer Patricia Galloway. If you're here, raise your hand. It doesn't match the name, but I'm going to enable the person because this may be one of the speakers. Sir or ma'am, are you on?
So can everybody hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead.
Jones, that's
Okay, I'm not one of the speakers you just mentioned. I'm Derek James, Correction Officer Derek James, the president of PBA Local 109.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm only going to take 3 minutes and I'll be very brief. Ultimately, what you heard from Officer Pastrana, I'd just like to let the freeholders know, along with the law department and everyone else who's entrusted with county personnel, et cetera, that he's not the only one affected in that capacity. We have others. So I would caution the commissioners, the law department, personnel, to actually reach out and find out what's going on with some of my guys, because he is not the only one.
We will. We will.
Say that again, Chairman?
We will at the public safety meeting this week.
Okay. The next issue I'd like to speak about briefly is hazardous pay. I'm not going to say anything that hasn't already been said, but what I will correct is that it's not $130 million that the county received. It was 117.5 on the first go around and 130 this time. And not to disparage anything that Commissioner Cifelli said, but it's not taxpayer dollars coming from local taxes. This is money that came from the federal government. And we recognize as the workforce that hazardous pay to the employees are one of the uses that the money that came into to the county can be used for. And by the way, I'm not just speaking for the members of 109. I've been entrusted to speak for 109, 109A, which is the supervisors at the jail, 232, 232A, which is the prosecutors and the prosecutor supervisors, and 334 and FOP Lodge 127. I have been tapped to speak on behalf of all the law enforcement bodies in Hudson County with regard to hazardous pay. And as someone indicated earlier, this is not something we came hat in hand to the county with. This is something the county proposed to us, and they wanted our ideas. When we gave the ideas, at some point, the rug was pulled from under us. So what you have here is you have all of the union presidents and representatives that now have to face their members on a daily basis about where's our hazardous pay after we were assured that they would get it. And it places us in a very uncomfortable position with our membership. And we're not talking about the 285 guys that Derek James represents. We're talking about all of the people, all of the unions that were offered and proposals were made and they were accepted, and then it was pulled from under us. The other thing I would like to say briefly, and then I'll end my 3 minutes with this. We started this quest back on March 9th when I submitted my first letter of recommendations to the county. I will submit that Don Batista, Sean Dias have been very instrumental in helping me navigate some of the issues relevant to COVID-19. We are so far from being complete or even being in the ballpark with correcting some of the things that has transpired well over a year ago. So what I would offer to the commission, to the Public Safety Committee, have me at one of your public safety committees, and I'll share all of the things that we need to address that doesn't get addressed on a daily basis at the Department of Corrections, and they're not being addressed in totality with the COVID task force meetings.
Hi, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President James.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
I respect Mr. James, I respect Ms. Tully, I respect Ms. Cleary, and I respect Ms. Cintron. The recitation as to what transpired is not totally accurate, in my opinion. Beginning last March, the county began meeting with all of the unions, and we met with all of the unions to deal with the issues relating to COVID-19. We did so on a number of fronts, on a number of occasions, and still are available for meeting. During those meetings, the unions raised the issue of hazard pay with the administration. At some point in time, we said we would sit down and enter into discussions with them. So I don't want it to be the perception being that the administration said, okay, we're going to give you hazard pay, come and give us your recommendations and we'll negotiate something. I just want to be clear that they raised it with us. At some point in time, yes, we did enter into discussions with them. So I just think the record should reflect that. And as to the issues with COVID, we have been meeting, we had scheduled meetings. At some point in time, some of the unions felt that the weekly meetings were not necessary. We said to them, if any issues arise in the interim, all you need to is contact me, Sean Dias, who's our Director of Labor Relations, and we would convene a meeting of whomever needed to be present.
I appreciate it, Counselor. Go, Mr.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
We're trying to get these two other speakers.
Well, I understand, but when other people wanted to speak, you haven't stopped them. Now you just stopped me. I'm the only one. You told me I have to wait till the end. So
I don't do that to you.
I know, but you did it twice.
Go ahead, sir.
So my concern is that, there's three sides to every story. We heard the union side, we heard Mr. Batista's side, and I think somewhere in the middle is the reality. The reality is that there was a sincere commitment. It may never have been put in writing to do hazard pay. The dollar amounts are actually set at $50 a day for non, I guess you'd call them law enforcement, and $75 a day for law enforcement. The county even then worked up even an amount. They knew how much the amount was. And then outside of this county, there became pressure to not do it. That's the reality of it. And the same individual who initiated that pressure is the person now that's asking us to supplement the amount of money his town receives because they were cut in the Senate version. And I would fully support for those 5 towns, not only that town, but for the 5 towns that were cut from the Senate version, that they each get those dollars made up. I equally believe we should live up to that commitment that though maybe never put in writing, never finalized, was clearly what the county was intending to do before that outside force started to impose. And as usually that outside force goes and talks to other people. We have the money now. We have $130 million. You're looking at $4 million to $5 million that can come out of that. Unlike the original $117 million, where the county, to the county exec's credit, decided that after the county took I think it was 15% of the funding, allocated the rest to the municipalities. Most of those municipalities have been made more than whole from what they were made before. In the instance of Jersey City, the city of Jersey City's got more money than we got. So one city actually got more money than the entire county received. So I think that this is an issue we should deal with up front. We should deal with it as we're starting to decide how to spend those dollars. It's only for a 3-month period that took place. Those were individuals who put their lives on the line while other people sat home in some cases and did nothing and got paid. They sat home and did nothing. There was, in some cases, the jobs that they're required to do not allow you to work from home, but they all got paid. So I think that it's more than fair and reasonable to do that. The individual who's asking us to supplement their funding, which I gladly support, should stand down. What he does in his particular town, that's up to him. He's not required to do something because we do it, but it's the right thing to do. The United States Congress, in their wisdom, literally put it in the bill. Put right in the bill, you can pay this and you can pay up to $13 an hour. We're not proposing to pay $13 an hour, or the county discussions never proposed to get to above that amount. It's just the right thing to do. We should do it. We should get it out of the way. Those union members, whether they were a nurse, whether they worked in family services, whether they worked in the park, quite frankly, whether there's somebody that's not in a union and came to work. They're individuals that we know, that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, that showed up and were in that office to answer a phone or to be available for us to address an issue at park or somewhere else. Please let them just get it. It's a different kind of a stimulus check. It's a stimulus to recognize individuals who stood up and were counted during the lockdown period throughout the state of New Jersey. So I urge the administration to really look at this issue and try to address it as soon as possible. We can afford it. Let's not spend all the money and in 3 years say, oh, we spent all the money again, so sorry, we can't give it to you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Clerk?
Let me ask one more time. Officers Smith, Traver, or Galloway, if you're on the call, please raise your hand.
I actually tried to call Smith and I couldn't even get him on his cell.
What was their email concerning the hazardous pay?
It was about hazardous pay, yes.
The three of them?
Yes. There's no other raised hands, Mr. Chair.
All right, if you want to email them back saying, we couldn't get you on, if you want to give a statement, email you and you could bring it out to the commissioners. Any other business? Mr. Clerk, any other business?
No other business. A motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Fielder Walker.
All
Commissioner,
in favor?
Well,
Aye.
first time I said it today. You said it.
I said it on an off the line when somebody called me off
You
line.
said it before.
All right, I'll give you $5. You put your $5.
$5. All right, that's the first time I said it today. We here, what, 2 hours?
Almost 2 hours.
All right, commissioners, everybody in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Adjourned.
Thank you.
Be safe, everybody.